And even that then depends on, where you were in the world. Because I think the world produces different insights
Mm.
from different places. And we represent that. Yeah, when I think of what she was experiencing in his childhood compared to what I was experiencing and compared to what Sandrell was experiencing, and if Jesse was old enough, what he would have been experiencing.
If she was old enough.
Well, I
I
mean,
would
we're 17
say,
years ahead of
yes,
him,
thank her a lot for the compliment. I heard the word, I wasn't old. Yes. Yeah, it's all about what we choose to hear it as.
Yes, exactly. And also what we acknowledge, right? What we choose to acknowledge
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see.
My perspective on my early life, it changed so many times.
Mm.
I was at that time as a child, I didn't have something to compare it with. So
That's right.
the young I saw differently, and then the adult now, and yeah.
One that just came to me. That's how you shoot down a bouncer. Well, you're not old enough to come in here. So you're saying you're an old guy and I'm young? Thank you very much. All about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is all about the awareness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And aware of like in here versus out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when our perspectives or how things work, how we've created our reality, right, is to see which ones do we listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So we've got a, there's a, we, uh, um, a media, I don't even know what to call it here, but there's a deadline that homework we're supposed to be done today by 3 o'clock. We didn't do it. So you can think, all right, homework that wasn't done. It won't get done. And specifically yesterday, that was gnawing on me. And so it wasn't frustration, but like it could have been, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it was just I could have let it get to frustration,
Mm-hmm.
but because I see it early enough, I can ask, what is it? Well, it's this, and so it's like it's information that's in here trying to tell me something about out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't always have to be that way, but working through it. And so, one, it's like, yes, so there's homework, and I was not one to miss homework, right? I made sure it was done. And who I'm doing this with is the same way. They will make sure that it's done. Well, we get to be to a situation and say we didn't do it. And I was like, so I asked myself the question, and it's like, what? And so what it did is it revealed my reasoning for why it wasn't done, which is the pattern for what has got the situation where it is. So it's my pattern in the situation.
Mm.
So it's revealing information that I can use as my awareness of me in, we call this thing marriage.
Mm.
So again, it's like, well, is it avoiding? Yeah, probably, which is probably what the big source of it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's the point of identifying it. Not that the homework gets done or not, but it is. Like that's part of, like, that's the next step.
Yes.
Because that's where the change happens. Otherwise, we're going to hold on to, nope, just the way that it is.
Yeah.
Not good enough, but also not willing to change.
Yeah.
That doesn't
So
get the homework done.
exactly. Well, it does, nor does it change a marriage.
Yeah.
Nope.
And so then it's like we're working like in choices. So it's like, all right, choice of what? What's the choice?
Better and better.
Better and better. I love that.
That's wonderful.
Thank you so much, guys. I really love the energy and the practice, listening to practice between Sindrell and Ellison, and all of it. It kept me grounded, and I have to go and then prepare for the couple that came yesterday to look at the house, and they're coming back today. So
Oh, that sounds good.
That's
please send
promising.
some positive vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to be with you, Chi. Thank
You
you.
have a
Thank you.
blessed
Thank you
day.
all.
Love and
Yeah.
hugs.
Bye, Chi.
Love
Bye
and
bye.
hugs, Chi.
Love you.
So, Jesse, you kind of hinted at it, but I want to celebrate the awareness for you, not for you. I want to celebrate with you the awareness of your pattern inside of the pattern. That's big.
Mm.
And that's the first step. And it's funny as I said that. It's the first step, but it's also the shortcut. Because once we are aware of what it is that we do, it's like we've got the tiger by the tail.
Don't let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you said next step, as I related to my circumstances, I was able to say what I heard. It's the first next step.
Mm.
A good thing about the first step it's creating momentum. Follow
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Follow it with the other leg. Swing that around and you'll have the second. And then you are
Wow.
in even more motion. Then it's just wobbling forward. Might not be fast, but it's motion.
Mm.
And so you said it's like, oh, then you grabbed the tiger by the tail. It's like, yep, okay. So what that was when what is this? Like, okay, it's this. And what that means is like I just went with the answer that came,
Oh, wonderful.
right? And so what it was like, okay, this. And then I can what it was it's like I tell myself it's not a good time. Those are the words that I use.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not a good time. And
Yeah.
so it's like the unaware pattern that's in the background that I'm telling myself that I'm not even aware I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like now that I've got the words for it, I can be listening for that in my unconscious to say, oh, there's my signal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awareness. Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so then at that point, it doesn't matter what my story in my head is. But it but it took getting to the words, to the story of it. It took to discover it. Like that's what I don't like that the importance of that is the process of that is what is important.
Yes. Yes.
Funny thing is, as soon as we start questioning stuff about ourselves, as soon as we get an answer, question that answer. Go deeper. Find the root of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep digging because it will keep pumping up excuses. Your old programming. It'll keep on coming with excuses. It's not time right now. I have better things to do. I have.
And even what you'll notice is you get to a point where there is no more.
Yeah,
And that is
that's the
like when
great
it's
thing about
all
questioning.
that's where and when it's all let go, it's like there's nothing else to hold on to. And it's like, oh, that's where it just is.
Mm.
That is the point of just is.
I had a cousin whose name and spirit's been coming up for me in the past few days. And he would always just say, it just is what it is, Ma. Mm.
And so it's like the what it is there's what we've made it up to be, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those are not they're built on each other, but not necessarily aligned.
Yeah.
True. Mm-hmm.
And why? Because it was a child that was in situations that was just making up one story and kept looking for it.
Mm-hmm. In an attempt to
One
make meaning.
one thing I found by listening to those CDs from Trudeau was I've been cruising a long time in neutral. It's like
Mm.
nothing bad will happen, but the other way, nothing good does either.
Mm.
So, like with money, it's all about how you use it, your thinking mind.
Yes. Yes. And that's such a great place to get to because that's true of everything. It's how
Yeah,
we use things. It's that energy with which we do the doing. That that is what's important. It's not the doing.
it's the idea of doing it.
And the energy with which we do it, Hans.
Yeah. And if you go into it with a positive attitude, well, you normally get a positive result.
Well, you're more
If you say,
likely to get
oh,
a positive result. It's no guarantee, but you're more
yeah,
likely to. Right.
yeah, and
And
if
if
you, sorry, you go,
okay, so and if you remember with that positive attitude, if you add it's all an experiment. I'm here to explore. This is not personal. All those wonderful things. That's when you get flow.
Yeah.
And glow.
And then you're flowing with the glow.
Yeah.
It creates a fire.
Yep.
And by remaining positive, you'll add fuel to that fire with positivity.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I'm actually, when I'm looking back now, I can see, oh, I've been doing this, but I haven't really been conscious about it or thought about it. I'd rather never really put a name to it, but by putting a name to it, it's sort of like, then it becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can create a memory bank or whatever and say, what did I do back then? Oh, I did that.
Mm.
So it's listening to the information that's there, which is the charge, which is the sensation, the feeling, the energy, rather than avoiding it or like going to the opposite by being distracted with it. It's to sit in it and say, all right, what is it? Where else would you get the answer?
Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like any of you has my answers. You have suggestions, but the answer is within me.
So then the answer is in here, right? Be listening to in here, rather, which is our conditioning is to say, no, out there is where I find the answers.
Mm.
And then really at the fundamentals, that becomes the oscillation because no, we're saying in here's where the answer is, but we are looking out there for it.
Mm.
That will always be unstable. That will always produce a wobble. That will always be void and empty. Always. Guaranteed. I can't say that about much.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking at on one end what we can call the frustration, on the other end what we can, for demonstration purposes, name bliss, happiness, joy. And then in between those 2 points is neutral. And I don't think parents, as I know as a parent, I didn't get it. And even as a teacher, when we had like a timeout center, I didn't get it this way on this level. But it's like, go to your room or go for timeout. And timeout, if you're taught, is really to be able to sit at 0.
Mm.
It's it's just, it's a time to just be with yourself.
Yeah, but the energy around that time out made it
Mm.
very difficult to be neutral in that
Mm-hmm.
space, right? And
Yeah.
that's what's so sad about it, because then kids associate being on their own as being isolated instead of being in solitude.
Being empowered. It's like going to the Tesla, going to the charging station and getting charged up. Instead of getting charged up, it was a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But it could be such a beautiful place of expansion.
Yeah.
Examination, awareness, and expansion.
Like for me, it was an experience. It was an experience of punishment.
Yeah.
So
it's terrible.
So if we had that as, or if that was our experience of it, then sure enough, we're going to see the silence by ourselves reflecting on what we did as a punishment.
Yeah.
And that conditioning now as adults, no wonder it takes so long to appreciate and enjoy and grow from zero.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like neutral better.
Well, I think so. It's like even if we say frustrations on the one end, right? If we say this is frustrated, it's like the opposite of frustrated. Yeah, it can be happy, right? I could go there, but I'd also just say, well, I think rather frustration, that I'd rather be at peace.
Definitely.
Even though so many people do say as well, if I'm frustrated, well, then let me look for something that's happy, right? And that becomes the distraction, even though it's complete opposites.
Yeah.
That's the place you find the power. It's just doing it better than this right now.
Yep, exactly. Better and better.
Yeah.
I think that's important, Jesse, to know what your antidote is for your condition. Because we could take the wrong antidote.
Yeah.
Tell me more about we could take the wrong antidote. Tell me more about the we could take the wrong antidote.
I'll explore that. So say if you have an argument with someone and you say, I'm gonna go for a walk. Okay, that's like seeking neutral. But if you go out for a walk and not sit in that space of going inward to understand why you got triggered or what you did to trigger them or whatever, what caused the argument. And you go to a bar or anywhere and meet someone and have a fling. that might not be the antidote to the argument.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or you go out and just get so, that you just get so drunk that, then you come back in a rage. That might not be the antidote.
So,
But if, mhm,
sorry. So then the trick is to keep your awareness about the next step after you take the first step for the antidote.
right,
And
right,
to make sure that that next step is aligned with the first step of the antidote.
right,
So it means keeping your awareness even when you're taking the antidote.
right. That's an awareness to take the right antidote.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the wrong is an avoidance.
Yeah, exactly, Hans.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
it could
what I
make
was getting to.
the situation worse.
Yeah.
Much worse. Much, much worse. I was just thinking now that this thing of being human is pretty daunting. And I just go back to what I felt like when I first got introduced to the Tibetans, understanding, I would say, that each soul that incarnates is a brave soul, and that we need to remember that.
Mm.
It was a real paradigm shift for me.
Mm.
And I still have to practice it because I can get rather upset about, about people in our social um, institutions
Mm.
that can wield a lot of power. And it's not power, it's dominance. But they can cause a lot of damage in people's lives. And then I have to say to myself, remember how short life is, even though it's the longest thing that we have. But, what's happening now in the world is probably even less than a grain of sand on a beach.
Mm.
And I don't do that in a kind of a nihilistic way, It's more just to remind myself of the perspective. Um,
It is definitely daunting, though.
yeah,
I get that.
thank you. And as you and I have so often said, when we look at our own lives and we look at others, then we realize how incredibly fortunate we are, even though we struggle so much with what we have.
Mhm.
Yep, we complain about our old shoes until we don't have feet anymore.
Sorry, Hans, say that again for me, please.
We complain about our old shoes, but that's just until we don't have any feet anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm asking myself, out of all of this, what am I? Is there something I am avoiding today? And it's not, it's like taking no time for a ticker tape of things that have come up for me. So I'll just, I just jotted down the first three, and that's enough. That's heavy. It's daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a good
But
idea,
that's,
though.
it
Yeah, that's
is. It's a
amazing.
great idea, Well,
And I feel the resistance, like of these things. I'm feeling this
yeah.
resistance.
Oh, yeah. I did that last night, Sandra, before I allowed myself to have my final drink. I was thinking to myself, okay, sit down.
I was like, but I'm human. I'm spirit. I'm genius. I'm like, this really is a little thing, but it's like the elephant and the mouse intimidating the elephant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, little mouse, I could squish you. Can you? Can you really? I like to see you do it. Matter of fact, you would even like to see you do it. But you ain't got the chutzpah. An opportunity passes. You know, you're like, dang, I should have. And that mouse just come right on around again. Told you. It's sitting back, leaning back on the wall with its legs crossed. Man. I'm like, but I'm the elephant. Dominion over you. Yeah. I like to see you use that stuff. You can't focus long enough. I can. Nah. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's been a very deep morning for me. I'm going to thank you all.
Thank you, Sandral.
Thank you. You have a blessed day.
Thank you, you all as well. Peace and love.
Bye,
Bye.
Sandro. Thank you.
Bye.
What was your highlight this morning? Your breakthrough, your insight, your aha, your or wrap it all up. This is what I leave with.
Mine was when we were talking about going from negative to positive, and that with an oscillating structure, that you go to the external positive for the positive. That was something I hadn't quite seen it in that detail before. And that was a really useful thing for me.
One thing that came to me was the awareness brings opportunity of going directly into the neutral, because you're aware of what you don't want and you're aware of what you want. So awareness itself creates the possibilities, and possibilities is mostly in the neutral. Possibilities for good things, possibility for bad things.
Really liked our life is the longest thing that we have. And also just the imagery, which I've actually been building on for a couple of days, of that inner light of authenticity, like both what you said, Jesse, the authenticity aspect, and the expansion that you said, Heinz, like both have really resonated with me in like core memory ways when they've been spoken about by other people. And that coming together, or I guess the light, like the candle, was what I had pictured in this moment of someone talking about feeling like their light had gone out. And but the authenticity component is something I was talking about just last night with a friend, actually, like at 1 a.m. on a call. And so tying that in and like reaching that all together in with the image of like my energy of this exterior thing, or like this, you know, aura that surrounds me that I can sense the strength of and the distance of, you know. I felt like this morning was full of a lot of really useful reflections, and I was missing for the middle of it because my Wi-Fi was just cutting out. But I've written down my 3 things, and it feels like an accomplishment.
And that's why you should start with the feeling.
The feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, build on that feeling.
Yes.
And you'll accomplish way more things.
Yeah.
Because it's that feeling you want more of.
Yeah. Like that combined with the length of our life and like how things come and go throughout it.
Yes.
That's really helpful.
Mm.
And what was your breakthrough, Jess?
Is Chi still here as well?
No,
Nope.
he's gone.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
had
what
to
was
leave.
this, Jesse?
No, I think the space from moving, like the 2 years we worked to explore the words. And then flowing that into choosing,
Yes.
into creating the choices. Like Heinz, as you spoke about it. It's like, oh, I'm really good at being in neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And then the awareness of, well, and I realize that neutral may not go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we can be so afraid of neutral. It's like, oh, then we're not doing or going anywhere just because we're conditioned to think we have to be.
Mm-hmm.
We do, but we've got to get to that okay with neutral so that we can see the panoramic view.
Mm.
And in order to see the panoramic view and the neutral, it's like then it's inside of us to listen to the authentic self's information it's trying to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes our glow, that becomes our guideposts, our lamps, our candles, our flames, our fires for which we seek. And we're on the expansion path or on the constrictive path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The expansive path, you also need a clear view of what you actually want.
Yes.
I have a feeling that's why I've been flowing in my neutral for a long time. I have no idea what I really, really want. I don't have any big wants. Yeah.
Just see the conditioning that big wants. Well, don't make them big. Make them little ones. Like practice with the little ones. We say we want to practice with the big ones. It's like, no, we don't. Let's just practice with the little ones.
And the irony of it is that the more we practice the little ones, the more they expand.
That's right. The bigger they get. Oh, really? And it is just finding the few that really matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
The few wants that really matter, that really, and it's like, sure, I sat with you the other day, it just seemed like, ugh, I just feel so unfulfilled. So it's just information. Listen to it, ask questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't attach to it. It doesn't mean anything other than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A very bright morning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Just thank
It
you
was
all.
Love you
wonderful.
all.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Love you
Heinz.
guys.
Have a
Thanks.
good day. Bye.
You all have a
Bye.
nice day. Love and hugs. Bye bye.
Bye.